AITA for exposing my brother's secret at his wedding and ruining his big day? I'm 28 years old and come from a big, close-knit family, or at least we used to be. Growing up, my older brother, Jake, 32 years old, was my best friend. He taught me how to ride a bike, sneak into the kitchen for midnight snacks, and always have my back in school. We were thick as thieves. But things changed drastically when he met Emily, 30 years old, his now wife. Emily and I never saw eye to eye. From the moment Jake introduced her to the family, I could tell she didn't like me. She was polite but cold, the kind of person who made you feel unwelcome without saying a word. Over time, she and Jake became closer, and our bond started to crumble. By the time they got engaged, I was barely speaking to Jake unless it was family related. Fast forward to the wedding planning. Jake and Emily decided on an extravagant ceremony with a strict guest list and a no kids policy. This caused tension because our sister, Sarah, 35 years old, has two little kids. Sarah begged them to reconsider, but Emily stood her ground. Jake didn't even try to mediate. He just went along with whatever Emily wanted. This was strike one. A few months before the wedding, I stumbled across something that would change everything. While visiting Jake at his place, he wasn't home, but Emily had let me in to pick up something Mom left there. I found a letter addressed to him from someone named Hannah. The handwriting looked familiar, so I read it. And I know I shouldn't have. The letter was intimate. Hannah wrote about missing Jake, reminiscing about their time together, and wondering if he ever thought about what could have been. It was clear Jake had been in contact with her recently, and there were hints of something ongoing. My heart sank. Jake had always been the golden child, the family's pride and joy. I couldn't believe he was capable of cheating, especially with someone who clearly still had feelings for him. I debated for weeks whether to confront him. When I finally did, he brushed it off, saying, "Hannah is just an old friend. Nothing's happening." But his defensive tone and refusal to explain further told me otherwise. The day of the wedding was a storm waiting to happen. Sarah was still bitter about her kids being excluded. Mom was upset that Jake seemed so distant, and I was wrestling with whether to expose what I knew. Emily was in full bridezilla mode, barking orders at everyone, and Jake seemed off. Nervous. Guilty, maybe? During the reception, after a few too many glasses of champagne, I decided I couldn't stay silent anymore. Jake was standing with Emily, smiling like he didn't have a care in the world. The hypocrisy made my blood boil. I walked up to them, trying to stay composed. "Jake," I said, "can I talk to you for a minute?" Emily glared. "Anything you need to say to him, you can say in front of me." Big mistake. "Fine," I replied. "I know about Hannah." The room went silent. Jake's face turned pale, and Emily's expression shifted from confusion to anger. "Who the hell is Hannah?" she demanded. Jake tried to downplay it, but I didn't back down. I told Emily everything about the letter, the hints of an affair, and Jake's evasiveness when I confronted him. By this point, people were starting to gather around, whispering. Emily stormed out of the room and Jake followed, leaving the guests in awkward silence. The aftermath, Emily called off the wedding that night. She moved out of Jake's place the next day, and word spread quickly among family and friends. Jake hasn't spoken to me since, and my parents are furious. They think I should have kept my mouth shut and let Jake deal with his problems privately. Sarah, on the other hand, is on my side, saying Jake deserved to be exposed for what he did. I feel conflicted. On one hand, I believe the truth needed to come out. Emily deserved to know. On the other hand, I ruined my brother's wedding, and there's no going back. So, Reddit, AITA, for exposing my brother's secret at his wedding and destroying his relationship?